Hey everyone, this is a long one and I feel kind of guilty for making you sit through it, but like I sped it up and I don't know if that's going to bother you guys, and you might feel like you might not have kind of grasped what I'm trying to do, so I'll talk through it. So that was me laying out alcohol, just straight isopropyl alcohol on Nara paper this time, which I have to say I really liked. I haven't used that much Nara, but I really liked using it on this piece. So isopropyl alcohol, Copic ink, I will list the colours. I believe that one was olive green, and I want to show you guys, you know, there's obviously different tools, and I'm a big fan of using the airbrush. I do think that it makes the inks dry a little bit different to heat. Obviously the air is cold, so it will dry the inks slower, but there is this billowing kind of appearance I think an airbrush offers. So in this piece you'll see me use all different tools to move the ink or dry it. So yeah, that was obviously the airbrush, and what I was going for with this piece was I wanted a really long piece. I've got this little crush at the moment on quite long landscaped art, and so of course that was my aim, but I wanted organic, I wanted earthy, I wanted tendrils and flowing, and you know, just that kind of vibe. So that's what I was working at. That's my heat tool, obviously, so now I'm trying to dry it a little bit. But what you'll see, I'm not going to talk for the whole video, but what you'll see is I lay out my main channel of colour, and then I introduce some more, but again I just kept a very small colour palette. One of the colours you'll see me use is I think it's Moss by Ranger, and if I'm wrong I will correct myself in the description. And the other one, the reddish colour ink you'll see me use, is Sienna, which is also another Ranger ink. I use another colour in here that is not alcohol ink. It is acrylic ink, and when you add alcohol and acrylic ink together, the alcohol breaks up the binders and the pigment, and it makes a really beautiful grainy, gritty appearance. So that's why I added that into this, to obviously match with that earthy vibe I wanted. And it moves a little bit different, and it doesn't reactivate like alcohol ink. So once you add the acrylic and the alcohol together, you do have to sort of move it where you want it to go and then let it be, because if you try adding more alcohol to it after it's dry, it just won't behave. And it's not that you can't do it, and it's not that you can't maybe get a brush and give it a gentle scrub to manipulate it, but it won't be your friend. That's the one. That's the acrylic ink. So you'll see me move it around, add a little bit more alcohol because it wasn't quite moving, like I didn't lay down enough to start with, so I wanted it just to spread out that bit further. That bottle is just straight isopropyl. Every time you see me use that one, it's isopropyl alcohol, nothing else. And I do use 100%. I don't use anything else. Not that I have any problems with it. That's what I'm used to, that's what I bought, that's what I like. Maybe in some other video I will discuss the lower percentage alcohols, because they will make your inks do different things as well. And a lot of people aren't really a major fan, but I have to say that for the style of art that I like and what I make, it actually does work for me. So that's probably another video idea. But anyway, so this is a very long one, and I have sped it up a lot because like this was over 2 hours worth of footage. So you know, it did take me a couple of hours to get the piece made. And then once it was completed, you might not even notice, but I added some very subtle marks with a warm grey acrylic ink over the top as well. It's not significant, it just gave just a little bit of shadow and a little bit of depth in one or two spots that I was wanting to, you know, just change up a little bit. So it is a mixed media piece, it's not straight alcohol ink, but I hope you really like it because I love it. And you know, it was quite difficult to photograph for my Instagram post, just because it's so big, and like I'm not a photographer and I'm using my phone for all this stuff, so I just did the best I could, I suppose, to try and fit it. But by doing that, you do cut out big chunks of it. So I do a flyover at the end of the video if you want to see it up close, you know, from left to right. But yeah, it was a pain in the butt to photograph. Oh, and this, I want you to see this. This is me using the airbrush to push the acrylic and the alcohol ink to give it direction and flow. So that's another reason why I love using an airbrush, because you can push the ink and it gives you the channels that a hairdryer doesn't do. It gives a bit of wisp and direction, and I love that. I really like that. So that's what I achieved with the airbrush there. So initially when I first started inks, I didn't want to use my airbrush. I bought one and it just sat there for, honestly, I'm ashamed to admit, probably 3 years before I actually got it out and used it. And now I use it a lot. So if you have one, don't be afraid to use it. It's not as bad as you think. And I don't even know why I kept it in the box for so long. But anyway, it's a tool that I love to use, especially on the big ones. It's really good. That's me just spritzing the alcohol, because I actually, when I do spritzes like that, quite often I'll point the nozzle up in the air, not down directly at the art, because you're less inclined to get really bad drips or like leaky bottle drips, as opposed to, you know, deliberate spritzing, and I like it better. So don't ever point it at your face. Make sure you don't do that, but when you point it up in the air, keep your face away, and yeah, as it drops to the surface, it's a much more delicate pattern than a direct spray, in my opinion.